You know, the main reason why you're struggling with bad habits is that you lack purpose. You lack deeper purpose and meaning in life. And this is a good opportunity to delve deeper into who you are, what you are, and, you know, getting to the core of who you are. That is how I started everything. That is how I started. I started writing down. I started to finally write my first book, and I'm about to finish it now. And I'm incredibly happy because now I'm back into my element. I'm back into writing. I'm back into, you know, philosophizing as well as art. You know, I love combining my art and philosophy, both. I see them as one. I don't see them as two separate things. The problem is that we lack a word for both. I haven't figured out a word for it yet. If you have a word for art and philosophy combined, then let me know, comment down below. I've always wanted a word for it. But all right, so bad habits. People struggle with bad habits. It is because you deeply, you know, you behind everything, you don't care about yourself. You don't care, you don't truly care about yourself. You keep on comparing yourself to others. It doesn't matter what we're talking about. You keep on, even if it's, you know, even if it's political opinions, you still compare yourself to others, your opinion to others. You constantly do this. Now, of course, we're born like this to, you know, identify the external and then analyze ourselves and compare, you know, this is not me. This is me, I like this is me, but this is not me. These are the characteristics I like, these are the characteristics I don't like. So, all right, so that's natural, of course. But, you know, habits, the problem is that people, you know, they try different things and, you know, they try everything. They try, for example, perhaps, you know, you try journaling, you've tried some form of routine and so forth, but you can't just try the routine. The routine has to come organically. We have to have organic, you know, it is a rhythm of life. That is why I'm speaking of a rhythm of life. It is not about, you know, being 100% each and every day. You know, not even Elon Musk, if you listen carefully to what all of these successful people, you know, it depends on what you mean by success. But all of these, you know, highly ambitious and highly, you know, achieving people, that is true. It doesn't matter what our definition is. He is a highly ambitious person, no doubt about that. But he has succeeded in his. The thing is, the money is not his success. The Tesla, the product, that's his success. The SpaceX program, that is Elon Musk's success. I believe PayPal, he was one of the creators of PayPal. That was Elon Musk's success, not the money. The money is the bonus. The money is what comes afterwards. Not just afterwards, while he's doing this. So the same with, you know, training. You gain muscles, but you gain, the bonus is a nice physique. But you gain muscles, you gain strength, you gain flexibility, you gain health, you gain, you know, all of this. You get greater health, and that is the whole purpose here. You get greater health, and that is the whole purpose of your whole life, actually. So you don't even have to look for your purpose. I already told you what your purpose is. Your purpose is your health. Because without your health, without good health, without greater health, we cannot go beyond, you know. But without good health, we cannot, you know, our subjective, our life experience, our experience of our subjective experience is lesser. So we want it to be higher. We never want to go lesser. Of course we want to go higher. We want to climb the mountain. We don't want to just circle around the mountain. That doesn't excite us. that doesn't make us, stronger, that doesn't make us resilient, that doesn't make us anything. We don't learn anything just going round and round the mountain. We want to go up the mountain. So, struggling with bad habits, all right? So at some point, you gotta ask yourself deeper questions, but not only that, you gotta, observe yourself objectively, not just objectively, but, truthfully. Forget about objectively. You observe yourself honestly and truthfully, more honest than anyone else could do that, could do it. No one could do this. You're the most honest person that can analyze yourself, all right? And just be honest with yourself, but not, you shouldn't, you should be honest with yourself, but it doesn't mean that you should, destroy yourself. You should, that is how we use doubt in a good way, we're honest with ourselves, but then we figure out how to get here, how to get to a greater body, for example, or how to get some results here. So you always have to reassess, always, but you always work on it, and once you find some results, you continue with this, and you just keep on building, and keep consistent. But so breaking a bad habit, so you have to break these bad habits, but your mindset is the first thing you have to change. You have to have self-interest. You have to be interested enough in yourself. Otherwise, none of this will work. So you can try, journaling, you can try this or that, but all of these routines are useless unless you enjoy them, unless they come to you naturally. But not just come to, you try them out. If you like it, then you continue. And not just continue, but you continue improving this, changing this until it's even more joyous. So, you try a lunch routine instead of a morning routine, and then you try an evening routine, but then you are miserable with the evening routine, for example, and you just go back to the morning routine, whatever makes you most joyous and happy, even though you have struggle. Of course there's struggle. There is, life is not easy, life is simple. Life is not easy, but life is simple. It is not, don't complicate things. Don't complicate things. And so, our habits have to become organic. You can't force this. You can try to force this, but it won't work in the long run. You will either burn out, or you will, quickly stop with the routines. You will give up. You will think that, all right, all of this is nonsense. None of these tips works. They all just talk, but never, you can't accomplish anything with these, tips. They're useless and so forth. But they're not useless. They worked for the person that's talking about it, most likely. Not always. Some people just talk for the sake of it. But usually you can spot this. So I always talk from experience. I won't talk about anything that I haven't experienced. So, of course, of course, I have a bias. Of course, I believe in a morning training routine, in a meditation routine in the evening. Of course, I do that. Of course, I believe in the diet I'm speaking of. Of course, I believe in fasting. Of course, I believe in 1 meal per day, because that has worked for me, and it has, results for me. Now, obviously, for other people, it might look a little bit different, because we're all different. We're all individuals. So that's why I'm talking about an organic habit. You can't, just force yourself to journal when you hate writing, for example. If you hate writing, you're a physical person. You need to do physical things. Then you're not a writing person, all right? Stop writing then, all right? You should go after your talent. You should strengthen your talent and not, strengthen your weaknesses. For example, one of my strengths is writing. So now I'm truly back at writing. Of course, I've always written, but Now I'm, now I'm truly in my element. I'm back to my artistic, my book, and it will, slowly get finished, and then I will continue with my other book, because this is my talent. Of course, I have multiple talents, and I will utilize all of them, but, you gotta finish things as well. So the same with habits. You can't just try a habit and then, all right, it didn't work for a week. Of course, you try for a month, and, if it doesn't work, you don't just drop the routine. For example, training, you need some activity. So that's a basic that is necessary. No matter, perhaps it's not calisthenics for you, but it has to be something else. It has to be something else. It can be swimming, for example. So, or cardio, or running, jogging, something, jumping rope. Even if it's just jumping rope, that's better than nothing. So, for example, you jump rope for 1 hour. Fine, do that. I mean, why not? You love it, because this way you will love it, and there are YouTubers out there that are focused on just jumping rope, for example, or just, a physique like Bruce Lee, or just a physique, a bigger physique with calisthenics, or, tricks with calisthenics, or perfect form with calisthenics, or, something in between with calisthenics. You have all sorts of people focusing on, the pull-up bar, muscle ups, all sorts of things. So my uncle was correct when he always talked about, I said to him, I will never forget this, because he was the most correct in everything. He and Steve Jobs, and both are, business people, and so, there is something to gain there. I told him I don't like cheese. I told my uncle I don't like cheese. And he said, well, that's not true. You just haven't found your type of cheese yet. There are a million cheeses out there. So that's the same with everything. There are a million ways of training out there. I found my way of training. I love the way I train. I never get bored of it. And even if I get bored, I just change some of the, elements. For example, I change a park or something, and I train somewhere else. As you might know, I train in parks. I love that, I love being able to pull myself up a tree, and, doing push-ups. I love the fact I can do that, But some people are not interested in this. Some people, love swimming, or love some sport, some other sport. Of course, all of this is sports. But you don't have to, you don't have to, think that it has to be perfect. So all these organic habits, it's not supposed to be perfect, all right? It's not supposed to be perfect, because if it was perfect, then there is nothing else to improve. So perfection doesn't exist. That's why I'm always railing against perfection and, this imaginary idealism. That's why I'm talking about the vision, your higher desire, is always improving as you're improving as well, once you have and continue having some progress, some results. So, the same with habits, it takes time to figure out the best kind of sleep for you, the best kind of, training routine, the best kind of eating routine for you, and so forth. And you gotta try them out to figure them out. And even, or when you plateau, for example, then you might want to switch it up a little bit. For example, I tried the warrior diet for some time, just to see what would happen with my body. You gotta have some curiosity as well, what would happen if I eat fruits when I train, and then it is my form of the warrior diet. I didn't go exactly as Ori Hofmeckler. He was the creator of the warrior diet. His book is pretty good, but it is good, but I don't agree with, everything there, and you shouldn't agree with everything anywhere. You shouldn't agree with everything I'm saying, because that is how you're building yourself. But I'm telling you this, of course, because I am aware of it myself. So, like I always say, I'm the meta. So you see, you gotta, it takes some time, And because it takes time, it is organic, you know. There is no other way. If you're going to try to be super structured, it's never going to happen. Like I said, not even Elon Musk, you know, he says, when he says, listen carefully to what he says, you know, he says, I usually wake up at 7. So it doesn't mean that he always wakes up exactly 7 and with a Planck second there, you know. It's not like Planck second correctness. It is, you know, he wakes up when his body's ready. You wake up when your body's ready, and then you try to work the same thing, the next day, but this new day. But it's not going to be exactly the same. It's going to be very similar. This is better than, you know, being totally chaotic. You shouldn't be totally chaotic. You need to have some rules. You have to create your own rules, and you have to have some rules. Or principles, rather. That's why I created all of my universal principles, so that you can follow these. And these are all tools to help you, you know, higher desire and all of that. And you can go back to my longer videos on higher desire. They explain it, you know, perfectly. Perhaps I'll, you know, explain it once again. You know, I can do it in many different ways. So perhaps we'll do that again in the future. But so your habits have to become organic, or else you won't enjoy it and you will drop it. And don't journal if you don't like journaling. Stop doing that. Keep it in your mind. I mean, it's not that hard, all right? It's not that hard. Your routine, you should always be able to remember what your last routine was, so that the next is something else. So for example, I did squats today, jumping squats today. So I know that my next, it is just, you know, tomorrow, it will be a focus on push-ups, because I know that 3 days ago, you know, from tomorrow, 3 days ago, I would have done pull-ups. So that's why I switched to push-ups, you know. It's always like this, you know. And of course, I play around. I did a couple of pull-ups today, but it's not, you know, something I focused on today. I focused on jumping squats. I focused on squats. So I always remember, I don't even have to plan. I always, you know, there is always a plan, and the plan is the same. So, you know, and the same with writing, the plan is the same. 10 pages, at least 10 pages every day. So, or, you know, at least 1 hour of this every day, you know, X every day. And you can build it in, you know, chunks, you know, this hour for training, this half an hour walking, you know, 5 minutes is approximately 5 minutes is, you know, showering, approximately, you know, everything is approximate. Nature doesn't have exactness, because we know this from physics. There is no such thing, you know, when you look at the atom, and, you know, you have the core, and you have the nucleus, the core, you see the core there as well, and you have, you know, the electrons. But we know today that the electrons is not, you know, this perfectly spherical thing. It is not even that at all. It is, you know, a cloud. Electrons are clouds, and they're deeply connected to the nucleus as well. So, and you know, it gets closer, you know, it's not perfect like that, you know, it's not perfect. And you can look at it both as, you know, frequency, as wave, you know, a wave, and, you know, a particle. It is both a particle and wave. It is dualistic in nature. And in a lot of ways, we are dualistic in nature as well as humans, you know. We have mind, we have body. But the same way the atom, and, you know, the same way a light particle, light is both, you know, it's a wave particle. The same with the mind, we're a mind-body entity, all right? The same with, you know, a light particle. It is wave particle. It is not just particle. We're not just body. It is also wave. We're also mind. But we're not just a wave. We're not just mind. We're also body. You see, we're also, in some sense, dualistic in nature. And I believe that is why we love, you know, the simplicity, because it is simple as well, because we always love perfection and simplicity. We've always been drawn to this as a human species. We've always been drawn to this, but it is a mistake to believe that there is perfection, because we know in nature there is no such thing. We know that scientists can't create a perfect sphere. They cannot create it. It is impossible. And DNA is by definition, you are by definition an error from your parents, because if DNA was perfect in the next generation, there wouldn't be a next generation. You know, there cannot be a next generation if the DNA becomes perfect, you know, because if it's perfect, then it's immortal, and immortality doesn't exist. So, you know, even if immortality exists, even if we have the technology to do this, even if we have the technology for immortality, we will still die, because the universe will die. So we cannot save the universe. Even if we can move into a different universe, we can't keep on doing this. It will eventually have to die. All the universes have to eventually die, as far as we know from, you know, as of now. So now I went very deeply here, but you don't have to go that deep. but you know, habits are patterns. The universe are patterns. You know, we see patterns everywhere, but you know, there is no perfect pattern. Waves in the oceans are not perfect patterns. They might look perfect, you know, when you look far. Waves are not perfect. The same way we are not perfect. Our days cannot be perfect, but it shouldn't be totally chaotic either. You need some, you know, there has to be a quasi-structure. It is a quasi-structure. It is in between structure and structure, you know, in between chaos and order. It is between, you know, structure and non-structure. It is quasi-structure, because it has to be quasi-structure, because you're always improving it. And the fact that you're improving it means that it's not a perfect structure. If it was a perfect structure, you wouldn't have to improve anything. You see, it is always like this. So that's why habits have to be, that's the deeper reason why habits have to be organic. And so try to be organic, try to be natural, try to, you know, find your rhythm of life. Try to, you know, I enjoy walking to the park and, you know, training and, you know, or whatever it is. I enjoy driving to the gym and train, or driving to the, you know, for swimming or whatever it is, playing tennis, or, you know, driving to my work. You know, you have to enjoy each and every part of your life, not just the training and morning routine, you know. You have to enjoy all parts, but it takes time. It takes time to figure out all of these things. So, all right. So if you have any question about habits, comment down below, let me know. I will answer everything. You can check my Facebook group. You can check my Facebook account page. You can check my Quora answers if you want to. I haven't answered in a month now, I think, but perhaps I will write something there, but there is no point. I can just do it here. Or, you know, you can join my Facebook group if you want to and ask me questions there as well. You can email me for personal consultations. And as always, keep on working on yourself, keep on finding your habits, let them be organic, don't force it. Don't force it, it won't work, it cannot work. I know human psychology, it cannot work, it doesn't work like that. Human psychology doesn't work like this. Especially people that are originally, so to speak, chaotic. If you're, you know, if you are chaotic in nature, that won't work at all. You know, you have to have, you know, some principle of higher desire. You have to always focus on, you want this more than your lower desires, and always, you know, keep on being consistent. But it doesn't mean that it will be perfect, and you use this mentality so that you don't lose interest in doing this. And so you keep on doing, you keep on focusing on yourself. And as always, you know, everything will be fine, everything will be great once you find this or create this rather. And I will see you tomorrow.